Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ohio Valley Conference Football Media Day, live this morning from Embassy Suites in Nashville. Bob Belvin, I'll be your host for all of the coming in and coming out of all the coaches here this morning. We will first start off with a couple of introductory type of items. Take a look at the preseason poll, which was just released, the preseason players team as well, all preseason selections there. We'll take a short break, and then afterwards we'll be interviewing each of the coaches here in the Ohio Valley Conference, as well as individual players from the select schools. So we are so glad that you are along with us this Monday morning as we are very near football here in the Ohio Valley Conference. Special thanks to Farm Bureau Health Plans, our sponsor for this stream, as again we will have all of the playmakers, all of the coaches throughout the conference here joining us this morning at the Embassy Suites in Nashville. Let's go ahead and get started. This poll was released just recently. Let's take a look at the predicted order of finish from the media that participated in the poll earlier this summer, and those have been tabulated and presented in this format that we're going to put forward now. Tennessee Tech with new coach Dwayne Alexander, who will meet in just a few minutes. At the bottom of the poll here, a lot of changes upcoming at Tennessee Tech. We'll be talking quite a bit about that. Murray State picked to finish 8th in the conference. Mitch Stewart will join us probably toward the middle of the pack when we meet the coaches there. The Racers picked 8th in the preseason poll. Southeast Missouri with the Offensive Preseason Player of the Year, Marquess Terry. We will visit with him as well. He'll be joining us here live on the stream. Southeast Missouri picked preseason number 7. The Tigers of TSU and Rod Reed, the preseason number 6 pick in the media poll, and the Tigers will be represented here by Ladarius Cook and Stephen Newbould, who we understand has some fantastic talents. We may bring forward in our interview with him. Eastern Kentucky third-year coach Mark Elder, the number 5 selection preseason here in the conference among the media in the poll. Eastern Illinois, Kim Dameron, a new offense in Charleston, Illinois. We'll be talking about that as well with Kim Dameron when he joins us. Eastern Illinois, the Panthers pick number 4. UT Martin, Jason Simpson. Great season last year, just couldn't get over the hump in defeating Jacksonville State and perhaps taking that top spot. UT Martin having Jacksonville State at home last season. The surprise team was a surprise team last year. The surprise team in this early poll in the preseason is indeed Austin Peay. Will Healy, he'll join us near the top of the coaches' interviews. And the preseason number 1, top 10 in a lot of polls throughout the nation, nationally, is the Jacksonville State. And the Gamecocks picked again to repeat as champions of the Ohio Valley Conference. So bottom to top, Tennessee Tech, Murray State, Southeast Missouri, Tennessee State, Eastern Kentucky, number 5 preseason, Eastern Illinois, UT Martin, Austin Peay, the surprise number 2. We'll get a lot of details on that. Jacksonville State, almost, and the beat goes on as far as the Gamecocks go. So as we continue to meet here at Media Days, and as the day progresses, more media will be filing in, and again, we'll be bringing you the coaches here live. Here's the preseason selections, all OVC offense. A lot of familiar names there, a lot of upperclassmen in this mix here. Just a couple of things I want to note out to you. Marquess Terry, again, we'll be visiting with him. Tyler Scazzaro, the great center, anchors that offensive line for Jacksonville State. Darius Anderson, Drew Forbes, Kyle Anderton, who will meet from Austin Peay later on. Stephen Newbould, we mentioned him as well. Isaiah Johnson came onto the scene last year at Eastern Illinois. He is now a preseason favorite here at running back in the conference. Jeremiah Oatsfall on offense. That's a big name you're going to hear a lot about. The sophomore, the only sophomore in the preseason poll is Jeremiah Oatsfall from Nashville. Really came on about midseason for Austin Peay last year. A big reason why the Governors are predicted to finish 2nd in this conference, and a big reason why, unfortunately, they got snubbed when it came to postseason play last year. So we continue to take a look at the defense. Lots of underclassmen, surprisingly, in this list here. Vincent Sellers, a great defensive back from nearby Tennessee State. Mark Williams, DeJour Nesbitt. Talk about a secondary. Take a look at the 2 in the secondary from Tennessee State that are represented in the all preseason conference poll here for all OVC defense. Up front, solid with Randy Robinson, Jason Williams, who will meet later on in this broadcast for Austin Peay. There, Kenny Wooten, Tim Collins for Tennessee State, or rather Tennessee Tech. We'll meet him. Zach Hall, James Gilliland, seems like he's been at UT Martin forever. The seniors expected to have a great season there. And the specialist Don't want to leave those guys out as well. The kicking game represented Cade Stinnett from Jacksonville State. I was just talking to Mike Parris, the voice of the Gamecocks. It seems like Cade Stinnett has been there forever. Gabriel Vincente, Nick Madonna at Tennessee Tech, one of the better punters in all of the nation. L.J. Scott, you'll get a chance to meet him later on this morning from Eastern Kentucky transfer, and Peyton Logan, another specialist on the preseason squad from UT Martin. So we'll take a break here as we present the OVC Players of the Year. Before we do that, the Offensive Player of the Year preseason, as we mentioned, Marquess Terry. We'll be visiting with him shortly from Southeast Missouri. He needs to put up big numbers. That defense at SEMO seems to be improving as well. The Defensive Player of the Year, Bartlet Bridges, he will join us as well. He will show up on a lot of lists, already has, showing up on a lot of lists throughout the nation. Bartlet Bridges, one of the better defensive backs in all of America and all of FCS. He will be here live on our stream. So as we continue here with OVC Media Day for football, live from the Embassy Suites in Nashville, we'll step aside. We'll rejoin you back in the top hour. And again, thanks to Farm Bureau Health Plans for their sponsorship of this stream. And again, top of the hour, we're going to get started with head coach Jensen Figgins of UT Martin. Back to OVC Media Day for football. Marquess Terry, saw a picture of him a moment ago. Pretty good graphic. Preseason OVC Offensive Player of the Year. That has to be exciting for you.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Something that bring home the Cape. Good for the town. Just very appreciative of that, of my teammates.
So this is preseason. These things are earned. So talk a little bit about how this team has progressed. I know last year you kind of exploded onto the scene, and it's very important, particularly with a very strong defense you seem to have had at Southeast Missouri in seasons past, to get it going on offense, and you're a big part of that.
Yeah, so just us as having a team effort, just coming along, me just being a new guy coming in, just getting in with everybody, gaining that trust. Our defense did stack a lot up for us, and I just believe that the offense just got to come along, and we'll be all right.
So talk about your decision to come to Cape. You mentioned you're looking forward to bringing them championships to Cape. Talk about that coming through the junior college ranks and kind of your thought process in selecting SEMO.
SEMO was just a good fit for me, just not too small, not too big, not a distraction. Just I'm a cool, chill, laid-back person, so it's the right fit for me. And just coming into that environment and giving everything that Coach Tu had to offer and the town has to offer for me and my teammates, it's just a great fit for me.
So let's talk about this schedule coming up. Is there a game you kind of circle on it to begin with and say, that's the one I really need to show out in, or I had success against this team last season, I expect that to occur this season as well? How do you look at that schedule preseason and approach it?
I look at everybody the same. There's no one team I'm just looking forward to. I look at everybody the same. I'm going to come in and treat everybody the same respect. But once we step on that field, then it's another thing for everyone, not just one team.
I'm going to have a chance to talk to a lot of, quote, leaders on the various teams. You must be one of them, given the selections and given the lead-in that you've had to this season. Feel any extra pressure with that?
No extra pressure. I've been in this role for a good period in my life, so no extra pressure. You just got to take on what is given to you.
All right, let's talk about the classroom. Talk about your major. Give me a favorite class or something, something that really kind of interests you.
Corporate communication major. I would say marketing. I like marketing a lot. Just getting stuff out there and putting it in front of people. I feel like that's a big part of the business world. I want to be a businessman one day. I want to own my own business. So just as far as that, that's it really.
I want to know a typical day in the life, but let's call it a Wednesday in September.
Okay.
In the thick of football season, what's a day like?
Wednesday in September.
Given Wednesday in September.
Well, I've been in school, so get that classwork out the way first. Practice, go and enjoy practice. My birthday is also in September, so probably my birthday week. Just enjoying my life, man. Just enjoying my life with giving what God has given me. Let me wake up every morning, so just enjoying that. Make sure I don't take that for granted every day.
Did you always want to be a running back?
Yes, I have. I always wanted to be a running back ever since I was 4 years old.
So you were wanting to be you did backyard playing ball. You had no desire to be a quarterback. You wanted to be the guy with the ball, catching, running.
Yeah, I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be a running back. I actually played quarterback my first year, but I always wanted to be a running back. I feel like that would fit me.
This season, big challenge coming off a struggle last season. I mean, starts are everything, right, to the season. But
Yeah.
What do you think individually you need to do to contribute to this team's success? And again, you kind of got a little bit of a mark on your back. So talk a little bit about that.
As far as you bringing up last season back, that's gone. All that is away. So this season, I would say just continue to do what I do, push my teammates. Anything that I can do to make my team better, I will do that. As far as going forward.
Are you the first off the bus in road trips?
Not the first. Well, it really don't matter who gets off the bus when you get off the bus. As long as you get off that bus and you're ready, I respect you for that. We ready. Headphones
in, headphones out?
It depends on what I'm doing at the time. If I'm watching film, then no. If I'm feeling like listening to my music, then yes. So it differs.
Okay. So favorite class. So I know we touched on that briefly before, but corporate communications, because I'm a corporate communications guy too, so I have a little bit of prejudice when it comes to that.
All right.
Favorite class?
Favorite class?
Yeah.
I said marketing. I like the marketing class because I like getting stuff out in front of people. As far as I feel like that's a big deal within business and how you market your business and how you market your stuff. Actually, and also if you're having a business, customer service, I feel like that's also a big thing. And being a corporate communication major, I'm very good with nonverbal, verbal, anything that deals with communication.
Well, he's handled it real well because we had a fly come on the set here at Marquess. It was very casual, just moving it out of the way. So he's got all the skills to go. Best of luck to you this season,
Thank you very much.
Along the way, and we'll see you hopefully in some of our broadcasts, and look forward to not only a successful season for you, but a successful academic career as well. Marquess Terry, Southeast Missouri. More to come here on the OVC Media Day. Murray State next up on the docket here at OVC Media Day, live from Embassy Suites, Nashville. Thank you to Farm Bureau Health Plans for allowing this to happen. Jensen Figgins, Murray State, welcome.
Sir, how are you doing?
How is everything in Callaway County these days? You guys getting ready for football?
Oh, yes, sir. We've been here all summer. We've been working out. We're ready to go. It's going well.
So what's the summer grind like? Not a lot of students on campus.
But it's a love-hate relationship. Honestly, it's like you love it because it's just us. It's us guys bonding. That's what we're doing. We're here to play football. That's what we're doing all summer, football long. That's what we're doing.
So are you first out of the dorm, first in the stadium, first on the track?
Of course, yes. Yeah.
So how many of a core group has kind of stayed back this summer and gone through, you know, on your own type drills and things like that you folks are working on?
Like we're for the most part, we all are. Out of the 100 guys or so on the team, I'm pretty sure I'll say 70, a good 70 of us are all here, ready to, like, working.
So in this new offense, how do you see yourself fitting in this season?
Hopefully pretty well. The coaches are going to put every player in the situation to be successful. That's my role, being a lot, 10, 15 catches a game, or it's 5 catches a game, whatever it is to make it successful.
Does the offense at Murray State kind of lend itself to your talents?
I think so. Being more of a receiving guy, always throwing the ball around, catching the ball is always fun.
So would you rather be running the ball after the catch? Is that a big part of your game, or in the slot, or wide? What best fits you?
Definitely being in the slot, I'll first say. More of a possession receiver, I can admit that. Of course, running after the catch is always fun, but as long as I catch it, I feel confident.
So talk about your high school career. This has been, being a receiver, a big part of your career. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, from high school, it's definitely different than college. High school, I was always like a bigger guy. I was always on the outside, going deep. Now, all of a sudden, college, tempo's a little faster, players a little faster, so moving inside. But being, like I said, being a possession guy, it actually helps me out now.
So when you get to the line of scrimmage, what are you looking at as a receiver? What are the keys that you're looking at? Does it differ from game to game?
Differs game to game, but also play to play, because sometimes I have to read a backer, look at a safety, even look at that corner every now and then. If they're going to play press coverage or off man, I have to see if they're not sitting on their heels or on their toes. That's how I'll make my move after that.
And the corner and the other DBs are looking at your eyes, your direction, your posture. What do you think they're looking at counter to what you're trying to accomplish?
Pre-snap, I'll say probably just like our alignment, because offensively alignment does have a lot to do with what we're going to call. After that, I don't know. That you have to ask them.
You're supposed to be in their minds. You watch the tape in the other direction. Murray State, there's spurts last season where you guys look, hey, they're back. And there are times not so much. How do you get through that?
Honestly, like right now, like going through the summer, we're with all of us working out, being closer together, working through adversity. That's what we're trying to work, build team chemistry, bonding, which we think will help us throughout the season. So when we have our highs, to maintain our highs, and then when we have our lows, how to get rid of them real quick.
So give us an inside peek at the quarterback situation at Murray State. And you know, a couple of years ago, Katie Humphreys had graduated, not as stable as it should have been last season. How do you correct that? How can you as a receiver kind of help your QB out?
First, as a receiver standpoint, I'll say the easiest thing for us is to get more open. Receivers, you can never get open enough. Every receiver might say they're open, but to truly actually get open is a different thing. As a quarterback, hey, that's really more the coaches, what they want to do. But last year we have Schuler Bentley coming back, return star, but also incoming transfer, Drew Anderson. So we'll see about that one.
So what is it like in a program when you see transfers come in, and particularly at a key position like quarterback? I mean, do you feel like it's incumbent upon you to reach out and say, hey, these are my strengths, and have them know each and every receiver's individual strengths? Look to me in this situation, not so much. How does those conversations take place?
It's really more of just some conversations, more actually going out and doing it with all the quarterbacks. We're running routes every other day for an hour to plus 2 hours, building that chemistry. So then the quarterbacks can actually figure out what we like, what we actually don't like, that, etc. Any
particular game on the schedule you're saying, I had success against those guys last season, or I'm really looking forward to going on the road and playing a big-time opponent? Anything jump out at your schedule?
Honestly, I'm just ready for the first game. That I see it game by game. August 30th for us, Southern Illinois. That's the biggest game for us right now. But of course, you always look past like the first game, but you got to focus on the first one.
I'm going to ask everybody this question. So I asked Marquess earlier, typical day, mid-season, late September, what's it like for you balancing the academics and the practice work?
It's definitely difficult, but you know, you are a student athlete. Of course, school does come first. You know, practice, study hall, dinner, shower, probably do some more homework, wake up, do the same thing all over again. But it's difficult, but definitely worth it in the long run.
So give us the major and why you chose.
I'm a business management major, and I chose just because I want to be a college football coach, but instead of getting like just a teaching degree, all you can do is teach. So at least with the business degree, you have more options.
Good, look forward to it. Jensen Figgins, Murray State. Look for him to be, how many 100 catches this season? 80, 100? What do you think?
However many times the quarterback throws him the ball.
Love the diplomatic answer. Thanks to him for joining us. We'll be back with more right after this. OVC Media Day continues from Nashville. Deshaun Smith, Eastern Illinois. Made the long trip, man. Glad to have you. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Great season last year for you individually. Kind of an up and down season for Eastern Illinois last year. That's kind of the best spin we can put on it. So what does it feel like summer coming into this campaign?
Well, it's been a grind. You know, our off season started early, so pretty much we just had to lock in, and we knew we had to put in some work. We made some key changes, you know, to the staff in the off season. You know, spring ball. You know, young guys had to step up and, you know, step into the role that we expect them to do, especially going into the fall camp in the season. Especially the summer. You know, the summer is always a grind, but that's when we become closer, especially going into fall camp. So it's gonna make a big difference, you know, going into the game.
Do you feel with the new offense that, or do you fall into the trap that with the new offense coming into play, less attention is going to be paid to the defense? That's not really the case, but does that kind of enter your mind at some point in time?
Not really. Going to spring ball, you know, the new offense, it really gave us a challenge on defense because we had to increase our sense of urgency just because, you know, it was high tempo and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it was just, you know, that big of a challenge, but, you know, it's going to help us a lot going into the season. But
so I've had a couple of receivers on earlier. So from your role from the defensive side, what are some keys you look at as you look up and down the receivers in this league? You watch at eyes, positioning, result of watching a lot of tape, I know, but kind of break down what you're thinking through pre-snap.
Pre-snap is a thinking man's game. Once the snap is, you know, to the quarterback, it's all about reaction. But, you know, eyes is important, especially that's what I learned, you know, when I got to college. But, you know, from my reads, it'll just be, you know, three-step quarterback, you know, just progress from there and, you know, get my eyes in the right spot, be able to make a play.
So we use the term leader a lot, we bounce it around a lot, but Deshaun, you must be one on this defense. So what does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I'm stepping into the big role as a leader. I know, you know, guys on my team, they're looking at me to lead, especially on the defense. You know, I may have a safety or a young corner or, you know, a young linebacker or a young defensive line. I know they're going to look at me to lead. So, you know, it's my responsibility to make sure that we're going to be all right. Help me and my brothers get to the championship.
Are you the one that's going to be running around repositioning maybe the linebackers, or shifting them, or patting them on the back, or realigning them, or what can we expect from you on the field?
What you can expect from me is being the best of me, being a vocal leader, also making plays. It won't be me making the play calls, giving everybody situation. That's the safety's job. So we got some young guys out there, but they're ready to make that challenge and make it happen. So they're going to get us lined up, as well as if we see it early, we're going to help them out.
So how do you think spring ball went? You mentioned that earlier. I mean, obviously, again, the emphasis somewhat in the offense and the retooling there.
Yeah, correct.
So how do you think that went, and how important is that really to kind of catapult you into the summer, get you through the grind, the dog days of summer, all of those adjectives that are used? I mean, did that go well for you as a squad?
It did. It did. Spring ball was a challenge just because everything was different. Everything happened so fast, especially with the new offense. Like I said, it just increased our sense of urgency. We know, everybody had to step up. Everybody had to, quit out the negative and just be positive about it, just because, this is what's going to happen. This is what it's going to be going into the fall. So the way it catapulted us, it was just momentum. Spring ball ended well. We had a successful spring game. Going into fall camp, starting August 2nd, we'll be ready just to, create that momentum again and just keep it going, keep it pushing until September 1st.
There's 11 to play, and to be fair, I would ask most everybody this question, but any game kind of looking at in there, or think, yeah, I really look forward to that one?
This year, I think I want to credit, to the OVC and all the teams as well that we play. Since I've been a freshman since 2014, I've seen this conference grow. I've seen every team get better. Of course, everybody in this conference, everybody has to beat Jacksonville State, point blank. But, you got to take every week, 1 week at a time, 1 practice at a time, 1 game at a time, because each team brings a different challenge. So you just, you got to treat it just 1 game at a time and just, win that one and keep it going to the next.
As a broadcaster going to Eastern Illinois, to me, it's a tough place to play. The wind's always blowing. It seems like, there's sometimes weather factors there. Talk about your Eastern Illinois experience. So what drew you to Charleston, and you've had a tremendous career there, and hopefully that'll be the case as you wrap it up this season. But talk a little bit about kind of your thought process in selecting Eastern Illinois.
It was all about opportunity. Eastern Illinois came calling at the last minute. I want to thank Coach Truxillo, Kane Womack, because at the time I was committed to Lehigh University. We was kind of done taking business at the time, but throughout the whole recruitment process, I was like, man, I want to give everything to God. Let him just make the decision for me. He'll lead me that way. I didn't know I was going to play, college football or anything like that. I didn't know, if my parents were going to be able to come out of pocket to pay. So I know I had to lock in and make it happen. So it was all about opportunity. They came calling, and everything just fell in place. And I was just so happy to, to commit to Eastern Illinois. And from that point on, my experience has been, one of a lifetime. That's why I just, I cherish every day, because I know I won't get it back. So, it led me to graduation in May. That's a blessing. Got my bachelor's in management, started my master's in sports administration in the fall. So, it's just, you got to give God the glory.
So the reason to come back, or the decision to come back, was pretty easy.
Easy. You want to give it all you got, especially with your brothers. Especially during the summer, like I say, that's the biggest sacrifice. But it makes it easier just because you have your brothers, to do it with. You make it happen with your brothers. Everything is easier. We're a tight-knit group. We have a good brotherhood, and that's what we, credit ourselves on. All gas, no brakes, 1 heartbeat. That's our swagger. So
I like that. All gas, no brakes.
No
we need
doubt.
to share that with Marquess Terry. That's good. That's a great marketing theme for you. Deshaun Smith, Eastern Illinois, joining us. Our thanks to him, and we've got more student athletes coming up here as OVC Media Day rolls on. Welcome back to OVC Media Day, live from Embassy Suites, Nashville. LJ Scott, Eastern Kentucky. Welcome.
How you doing?
All right, so before we get into anything, I was teasing him off mic, but I really fire the cannon. What a great slogan!
Yeah.
What a great moniker!
Yeah.
Got any idea how that came about? Other than that big cannon you guys have at the end zone at Roy Kidd Stadium?
As far as I know, that's about how it came about. Ever since I've been there, that's been one of our slogans. I mean, if you really think about it too, it has, a lot to do with football. Football, you're always, live, firing a cannon. They're always telling you shoot your shot. So, I mean, it fits well for what we do.
Been in this college football a while.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about your decision to come to Eastern Kentucky.
Actually, it was pretty easy. So, I announced my transfer from the University of Louisville. Had a great 3 years there. Learned a lot from the coaching staff. Made a lot of good memories. Made a lot of brothers. And when I announced my transfer, Coach Elder was the first coach to reach out to me, and it was almost pretty much a done deal at that point. He had recruited me when he was at Cincinnati, in my first time through the recruiting process coming out of high school. So we had already had that relationship. I was familiar with him. I knew what he expected out of his players. I knew what type of program he was going to run and what I was going to get myself into going to Eastern Kentucky. So it was a pretty easy decision.
So when you insert yourself into Richmond, how have you been received? How have you kind of blended in? What's it like to be in that transfer status mode coming from an FBS school to an FCS school?
Well, Eastern, it actually wasn't pretty bad. Coach Elder does a great job of balancing how he does recruiting. He does like to recruit high school very heavy, but he has a good amount of transfers coming in each year. So when I got there, I got into a group who had transferred Nico Kramer from Tennessee, Tim Boyle from Connecticut, so they had really eased me into the transition. They showed me how things worked here, so it's pretty easy. And as far as the team who weren't transfers, they accepted us pretty well. As long as you came in and you accepted the EKU culture, everyone was on board with you.
All right, so we're going to fire the cannon on a few things. Schedule, what do you think about it? Anything jump out at you there?
Playing in OVC, you have to be a grateful football player. I mean, that's what I can say about our schedule. When you go to FCS football, you hope that, when playoffs come around, that they can't question your strength of schedule. And playing in the OVC, they can't question your strength of schedule. We play in arguably the best conference in FCS football, so you're very grateful for all the teams on there. Week in, week out, whether you're on the road, whether you're at home, you're going to have a great crowd. Fans travel well in the OVC, and you're going to have a tough game.
So talk about your role on this team. What's LJ Scott's intent, vision, as far as this team goes?
My role in the team is definitely a leader. Ever since I got there, the guys have, because at that point I had played 4 years of college football. I have a lot of experience under my belt. And I've been in just about every scenario you want your leader to be in. So, had a lot of insight that I could offer the young guys. So since I've gotten there, my team has definitely appointed me the captain. And, I take a lot of responsibility in that. It's a great deal to know that your teammates trust you on and off the field. So I do as much as I can with them as far as spiritual leading, running Bible studies, just things of all types of sort of thing. I try not to keep our relationship strictly on the field. I try to get into guys' world, see what their family's like, where they came from, what type of person they are. So building that relationship will last a lot longer than our playing days.
LJ Scott, Eastern Kentucky, our thanks to him for joining us one more time.
Thank you.
What are we going to do?
Fire the cannon.
Fire the cannon.
Yes, sir.
Back after this. Preseason Defensive Player of the Year, Bartlet Bridges, Jacksonville State, joins us here on the set at OVC Media Day. Looking good.
Yes, sir.
Love the tie.
Thank you.
Love the tie. You had a fantastic career so far at Jacksonville State, and almost feels like it's just beginning. Talk a little bit about your experience so far at JSU.
Oh, man, I'm blessed, man. To be able to play 2 years without getting hurt, getting injured, and to be the player that I am for our defensive leader, and I'm blessed.
So from the defensive secondary, take me through the game. What are you looking for? What are your reads? What are your responsibilities?
My responsibility is they call me the eraser. I eliminate all mistakes from everybody, and I replace all linebacker mistakes, and just a eraser over the whole defense.
So how did we get to the point where the mistakes aren't there in the first place?
It happens. I make mistakes myself, so I need someone to erase them for me, so, you know.
Your Jacksonville State experience, it's ended bitterly the last 2 seasons in the postseason.
Yes, sir.
How do you get beyond that?
2015, we got beyond the second round, and we made our way to the national championship. And I always say that once we get past the first and second round, we're going to be a team to reckon with. And everyone knows that as on the Jacksonville State team, and we just got to get over that hump. And once we get over that hump, we'll be good.
So this season's going to start early for you. Going to have one of those premier type of games in Montgomery. Talk a little bit about that and how exciting that is to kind of play a standalone game, if you will, early season.
That's exciting. To be starting out college football, first game, Montgomery, that's pretty exciting. And I think we're trying to take home the trophy again this year. So,
give us a little insight into Alabama high school football.
Oh, man. I think it's one of the greatest football in the country, Alabama football. So, I put us ahead of everybody, you know. We're football.
Texas, Florida?
Texas, Florida.
Okay.
I will.
All right, we'll be monitoring that. I think you're exactly right. You know, Jacksonville State as a university kind of sits up in northeast Alabama. You know, it's often confused with Jacksonville and Florida.
Yes, sir.
What's the big recruiting draw to athletes coming out of the state and coming out of the region for the most part there that makes an athlete want to come to Jacksonville State?
We like to win. That's the main thing, and coach is going to prepare you to be a man on the field and off the field, so that's great too. And you get many degrees, and that's just great.
So talk about pressure, or is there pressure? I mean, I've got this great graphic here. This is the preseason Defensive Player of the Year. You feel it?
Yes, sir.
Is it real? Is it kind of how you deal with it?
It's no pressure to me. I know the type of guy I am, and I know the hard work I put in, and it's getting recognized, and I can say that I'm blessed for my recognition.
So, particular game on the schedule. We talked about the opener, you know, being kind of a standalone. Any game on the schedule kind of jump out at you?
Every game jumps out at me. I try to make an impact on every game because I know once I get going, the whole defense will get going, and the offense will get going too.
So is it okay if I let Randy Robinson, the big D lineman, in front of you, let you know that you have to erase his errors too?
No, sir.
No, we better be careful with that.
Yeah.
A D line makes you look really good.
Yes, sir, it does. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks, and I think the whole defense for every game, like the defensive line do their work and the linebackers do their work along with us in the secondary. We do our work too, so they help the defense win the games.
And Bartlet Bridges right on target, preseason Defensive Player of the Year, and the Jacksonville State defense has been impressive over the last 4 or 5 seasons. We'll continue with more after this. Governors of Austin Peay in an unusual spot in the preseason poll picked to finish number 2. The gentleman beside me is a big reason why. Jason Williams, the all-everything defensive player. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
Let's talk about this transformation in this Austin Peay program. Will Healy gets a lot of attention. He should. You guys get a lot of attention. You should. But to have a culture shift as dramatic as what has happened in Clarksville, it needs explanation, so I'm going to lean on you to do that.
I think it's very simple. It's just going to work every single day and having a common goal in mind. You know, everybody working towards the same goal and just being diligent with that and working towards it every single day. And I think that's what's been the main cause in the change of the culture. So
first season, Will Healy, no wins. And the last season on the brink of a playoff berth. I'm still prying a little bit here, Jason. But how do you make that? I mean, some personnel certainly had a big reason for that, and there's the mindset alone. But how dramatic was it, and how fun was that ride last season?
It was probably the most fun I've ever had playing football in my entire life. It was fun to see all our work that we put in the previous offseason. All the work we put in the previous offseason going to the next season. But obviously we didn't get what we wanted, and we're working even harder this year to get exactly what we want. So.
And that's going to be my next question. What's the offseason been like? I mean, there was bitter disappointment. You know, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, I was there at the selection show. It was not. It was not. How do you carry that? How do you deal? Is there a specific? I'm going to ask Coach Healy this question too. Is there a specific time where you say we'll deal with the frustration of this and then we move on? Is that kind of what the case was there?
A little bit. I think it's just having a bigger chip on our shoulder, just not getting exactly what we wanted. I mean, of course we wanted to win games, and we did, but of course the end goal was to win a conference championship and pursue a national championship. But obviously that didn't happen, and it's just trying to do the same thing this year, but you know, just do it better. Just leave no doubt.
How fun is it to look on the other side of the football and see an offense that produces, that doesn't create a lot of 3 and outs? It kind of takes the pressure off you.
It does take a lot of pressure off. We have a very dynamic offense and a very explosive defense, so I'm excited about this year and what's coming up. So.
All right, so preseason at your position, all conference. Any pressure there? You exude to me that you're just having fun in this whole thing called football, and you know that may not have been the case a few years ago at Austin Peay.
But yeah. Not too much pressure. I lean a lot on my teammates, and my teammates we just lean a lot on each other, and they help me a whole bunch. And I wouldn't say a whole lot of pressure on me. I think it's a lot of pressure just on the team, just to do better. So,
how's it going in the weight room?
Great. Our strength coach is crazy, and he's very he loves his job. So.
Talk a little bit about the defensive formations that you use. What your base defense is. You don't have to get any secrets out, but a big part of that is where you play, and that's up in the trenches.
Yeah, it's up in the trenches. Yeah, so we run a 4-2-5 defense, and I'm just a true defensive end. So
you've got a goal for tackles this year?
How many tackles?
Yeah, 80s, 100s.
Hopefully, I'm shooting over 80. Over 80, yes sir. I just want to be explosive all on the field and just run to the ball every chance I get. So.
Jason Williams. Plus 80. He's on the docket in July saying that. We're having some fun with him. Jason, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good luck to you and the Governors, and we'll grill Coach Healy here in a little bit as well.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
All righty. Jason Williams will be back right after this. Stephen Newbould, Tennessee State, joining us. Glad to have him on the set with us here at OVC Media Days, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Stephen, I've enjoyed watching you.
Thank you.
Calling your games throughout the career. A little more pressure on you this year.
Right.
I mean, 8, 10, 15, 20 touchdowns. What do we got working here?
Oh, this year we got about, I say, 1,000 yards plus 10 yards. I mean 10 plus touchdowns. And this year going to be a nice season this year.
So let's talk about the evolution of this offense, because you have various quarterbacks come in. It's just been very difficult at the quarterback position. How have you maintained, your focus in terms of this is my position, whatever happens behind is going to be it?
Well, just staying focused on what I got to do, and knowing that a quarterback can come in. We got a lot of quarterbacks that just came in, so just knowing that I can have a quarterback to get me the ball, that's all we need. So we have a couple of quarterbacks that came in, 2 JUCOs, 1 transfer from Minnesota, Jimmy Crawford. He's pretty nice too. So All we just needed a quarterback to deliver the ball.
So there are some, and this is always the fun thing to do at media days. There's talk that you sing well and you have various talents. In fact, when we got up, Stephen wanted to interview me, which is perfectly fine because I really couldn't answer the LeBron question.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you.
But I hear you enjoy singing. Is that a wide range of genres that you like, or is it? What exactly do you focus in on?
I focus in on like the little things though, but I sing sometimes. You know, when I'm in the shower, I can sing sometimes.
That's not what sports information tells me. Locker room?
Yeah, I sing. I can sing. After a big game we win, I'm gonna sing. You know, I got some good vocal skills.
So did you start out honing that talent in high school, or is that been something you've always?
I was in a choir when I was little.
Okay.
My grandma used to put me in church choir, and I used to sing in the choir.
So you should get out with the band at TSU too, right?
I would. If I would play the band, I'd play the drums though.
Okay, you like the drums.
Get down on the drums.
He likes the drums. Talk about your decision to come to Tennessee State.
I chose Tennessee State because when I went there, I liked the energy. You know, the coaches showed me a lot of love, and I just liked the environment there. I never think that I'd been in Tennessee growing up, so it's pretty nice. I never seen snow before. When I got there, I seen snow for the first time, so it's pretty cool to me. So
better check your calendar to see if you have an Eastern Illinois game in November. You might see snow.
I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I put my Vaseline on. I'm ready now.
I need to do the schedule. You guys play in a lot of classic games. That's got to be a lot of fun to travel and go to those types of atmospheres.
Yeah, it's fun. It's real fun. Especially like the John Murray Classic. It's always something new every year because you never know who we gonna play or like the environment there. Cause it's just so exciting. You know, everybody come out, they have a good time, the game be good. It'd be a real good game, good atmosphere.
And we hope the best for Stephen Newbould. John Merritt Classic actually September 1st
in
Nashville. So our thanks to Stephen Newbould for joining us. We still, media day is early. We still may get him to sing something here real soon.
Oh, yeah.
Best of luck to you, Stephen. Appreciate it.
All right,
we'll be back.
Have a good one.
Tim Collins, Tennessee Tech, joins us next. A lot of changes at Tennessee Tech in the last 7 months or so. Kind of take us through that progression. Marcus Satterfield departing, Dwayne Alexander coming in.
Yes, sir. Well, this is my third head coach in 4 years, so it's a difficult process to kind of go through as a college athlete, as a student athlete. To have 3 different coaches in 4 years, it's kind of crazy, but it's also a blessing too because you get to learn from 3 different men that have 3 different styles. So it's been a blessing through it all, really.
And Coach Alexander, a lot of experience, been at Tech, lots of places. We'll visit with him here in a little while. Has the defensive philosophy changed at all?
Not much, man. A little bit. We still running a 4-3 front. It's kind of been the same. I still have the same position coach from last year, so we run a lot of the similar stuff we ran last year, so not much change.
So a defense last year that was pretty good in the conference,
yes, sir,
Tennessee
yes, sir.
Tech, but you just didn't get it done offensively. That's a lot of pressure on you from the defensive side.
Yeah, we ain't gonna point the finger. You know what I'm saying? We could have did better too, but it is. You know what I'm saying? The team, we put the team on our back. We want that pressure. We want that. We thrive off that, knowing that the offense depends on us just as much we depend on them. But it's a blessing, like I said, man. The more pressure you get put on you, the more you up your game through it all.
So let's talk about you. You touched on it briefly. 3 coaches, 4 seasons. What's different about this new staff with Coach Alexander? Again, your position coach remained the same.
Yes.
Anything different in the greater 10,000-foot view of philosophy or approach to the game?
It's a lot more communication. You know, we didn't communicate as well between the coaches and players, players and players, coaches and coaches. And it's a more open door policy this year. A lot of guys are communicating more, and we kind of figuring out things together.
Talk about your major, business at Tennessee Tech, no doubt.
Yes,
so kind of smaller class sizes there, I would guess, at an engineering school. Talk about your Tech experience.
It's been amazing, man. Everyone is loving in Cookeville. Cookeville is a good city. It's a small city, but the people are welcoming, nice, kind. So I've enjoyed my 3 or 4 years at Tech.
Got a particular fond memory so far through these first seasons there that jumps out at you? I mean, it's been a lot of highs and lows overall for the Tech program.
Nothing specific, you know. It's kind of been. Oh, I got baptized. That's one thing. I got baptized. Yeah, I got baptized in front of all my teammates on the football field last August. So that's been a high for me personally, just in my personal life. So that's been a blessing.
A particular game you're looking forward to this year? I know you're supposed to say all of them, but is there something?
I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, so Jacksonville State,
you
know. So, and of course they run the OVC right now, so I always look forward to that game.
Tim Collins with the purple and gold, Tennessee Tech. First-year coach Dwayne Alexander. Looking forward to meeting him. Enjoy meeting you. Best of luck to you, Tim. Appreciate it. Back right after this. All-purpose everything, Ladarius Galloway, UT Martin, joining us here at OVC Media Days. You like that title, man? I put it on you already. I called you James Gilliland already, so I'm in real. I confused you with a defensive guy. That's pretty bad, isn't it?
It's all right. It's all good.
It is all right.
I love to have that mentality, though. Yeah.
You've had a lot of different roles, been asked to do a lot of different things. Had a great start to last season, kind of, petered out a bit in the end. How do you avoid that? This season, I mean.
How you avoid it this season? Yeah. Well, it's something that, I worked on all summer, just working on being more consistent, you know what I'm saying, working on being more of a leader. That's kind of something I'm challenging myself to do this season. I kind of got away from it last season, like you said, towards the end, kind of lost, kind of fell off a little bit, but we're gonna get things back right.
And that's important because defensively, UT Martin has been outstanding in seasons past. The offense just hadn't quite gotten there.
Right.
You guys got a little back and forth about that, or
well,
maybe not?
Well, we are back and forth about it. I mean, defense come out there every day, each practice, ready to push us each and every day. And as offense, we kind of hold it to ourselves, as, holding ourselves accountable, for what did happen. You know what I'm saying? We always come out there with a chip on our shoulder, even though they are number one. We still come out there and try to compete each and every day.
As a running back. What's the new world here? Is it 15, 18, 20 carries a game, 1,000-yard season? What's the new barometer for this kind of new world running backs we're kind of seeing? Versatile ones.
Well, yeah, we do have to be a lot versatile. We got to block, pass, and receive. But the biggest thing, is just being whatever you need to, whatever you need to do to help the team out. That's kind of my role, as a running back too. I kind of do whatever to help the team out. I know, I was kind of all-purpose last season, but like I said, either it's rushing or receiving. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, to get the W.
How do you think you fit in this offense? It's been evolving to some degree. You had great quarterback play last season. Like I said, you started off very well. Injuries probably nicked you up a little bit. Some other things happened. Consistency is so key, but guys like me in broadcasting, we talk about it all the time. But how do you get there with it? How do you get to that offensive consistency game in, game out? Defensively, for that matter as well. But how do you get there, and how do you view your role as a running back?
I view my role as an important role. You know, like I said, me being the starting back, I have to come in each and every day, you know, ready to work hard, because I know guys up under me and the guys around me, you know, see that. And so it's just basically leading by example, you know, coming ready to work.
Picked third or fourth in the conference. You pay any attention to those preseason? It's fun for us, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun for everybody else on the outside looking in, but we don't pay too much attention to that. You know, we gotta kind of try to do our part, and you know, handle our business. You know, as players, you know, go out there and perform each and every day for the fans.
So you've had a couple of great road trips to start the season. No different this season. Talk a little bit about your first couple of games.
In the first couple of games, you know, it's an important game. The first game is in Missouri. You know, what can you do versus a SEC opponent? You know, last year I stepped up, and this year it's kind of the same thing for me. You know, kind of stepping up in a bigger way, more than I did last year. You know, as far as leading the team, and then we got MTSU. You know, we got conference guys. I think that first game gonna set the tone of the season, how the season will go.
And it's a big challenge at Missouri, at Columbia, September 1st.
Yes, it is.
Did you go by the initials LD?
LD, LG, Galloway, G-Way.
He's got them all, so we'll make sure we get them all. We'll make sure we get that Twitter handle out as well. Ladarius, thank you so much. Appreciate you. UT Martin, September 1st on the road at SEC Power, Missouri. Hopefully an SEC Power in the Eastern Division for Missouri. Best of luck to you. Thank you so much. Back after this, OVC Media Days. Supervisor of Officials Matt Young joining us here, OVC Media Day. Everybody talks about points of emphasis, Right. I even teased you when you walked on the set. So what's new? What is the point of emphasis this year? You guys always have a point of emphasis, right?
Do.
You always get that to you, right?
Of course, my point of emphasis is to make sure we do our best to get the plays called correctly. Absolutely. You know. But of course, there are points of emphasis across the country this year. A couple that have to do with new rules. I think one that fans are going to be really interested in is when the receiving team on a kickoff, a player makes a fair catch between their own goal line and the 25. You get the ball on the 25. And so you make a fair catch on your own 6-yard line, you get the ball on the 25. So what's trying to be done there is the elimination of players who build up 60 yards of speed and make a huge impact and maybe a targeting kind of situation. So that'll be different.
So how has the issues of safety, which are always open for discussion, how have they kind of been woven into these rule changes? Is that the first thing we're addressing, is safety? Maybe dropping below competitiveness or equality or parity or whatever.
I think player safety is always the most paramount issue in football officiating. Then comes issues of fairness and calls and judgment and those kinds of things. So you're seeing player safety woven into the rules as it relates to these targeting, which is always a national head-scratching kind of thing, which I think we've gotten a lot better on. The advent of replay that give us an extra look at those helps immensely in this league now. The rules changes as it relates to blocking below the waist, of which you'll see one this year as well. There is no blocking below the waist allowed beyond 5 yards, 5 or more yards from the line of scrimmage at all. So the trajectory is going in the direction of more restriction on blocks below the waist, and that's been coming for some time. We're trying to keep players' knees.
How hard was that to come to that decision? I mean, are these 2 and 3 years in the making, going through the committee process, I assume? Take us through the genesis of that.
The rules are acted upon and implemented by the coaches on the NCAA Rules Committee with oversight from the NCAA. So officials actually do not have any input as it relates to the actual voting on or making of rules changes. They're all proposed by the membership and acted upon by the coaches who are on the Rules Committee. So that is the process. Our opinion on them doesn't really matter a whole lot. Our job is to do them well and to figure them out. So.
Give me a quick update on progression of replay.
Sure.
It seemed to go very well last year.
I
Your
think
thoughts on that?
I think it went well. I think that if we could not have scripted it any better. We knew going into the season that it was going to be new in all of our member schools, and so we knew that there would be bugs to work out. We knew, and it went well where we thought it would go well, and there were some things that we had to adjust and learn as we went. And by the second half of the season, we really felt like we had a good grasp on replay, and we're ready now to avoid a sophomore slump in instant replay and move the ball forward there. We could not have predicted, if you remember a year ago in week 1, the biggest monsoon to hit the OVC footprint. We could have never predicted that kind of stuff, and we had to adjust even through crazy bits of weather at UT Martin and at Murray State.
Any tweaking that's going to take place with replay? Again, to your comments, very good freshman season.
I've got some new staff members on the instant replay staff. We must be doing something right. 2 of my staff members were hired by the Southeastern Conference and the Sun Belt Conference. Okay. So, and that's a normal direction for us as we're marketable to FBS conferences. So internally we have a little bit of tweaking. Our schools have done a good job of adhering to the minimum standards that we have for our instant replay. We have a 4-camera instant replay minimum standard. Over half of our schools have more than 4 cameras, but we at least have a minimum standard that every school has to follow. Most of our schools are bringing back their same personnel behind the scenes that are working it, and we feel like that's going to be to our benefit.
And I think the statistics will prove out. We talk a lot about pace of play in baseball, but in football, even with the advent of the replay system, I think it did not dramatically prolong games.
No, our referees are held to a pretty high standard of moving the game along. I certainly was that way when I refereed in the OVC for a long time.
Many years.
A long time.
I've called many of your games, Matt.
and you got home quickly in my game.
I did, thank you.
You're welcome.
Or a long drive.
That's right. But I think that the pace of play is a huge thing. If we can get a game right on that 3-hour window and hopefully just slightly less, then we're in good shape.
Anything else we need to look forward to in 2018?
I think that you are going to see our continued emphasis on trying to obviously emphasize the player safety, but also try to call the things that matter. The theme that I gave to our officials this season is a constant theme of nothing marginal. Let's make it be there. I try to call it. I try to say it like this. Let's call the felonies and do our best to leave the misdemeanors alone, and try not to be technical. And hopefully our understanding of what's technical and what's not is congruent with our players.
Kind of like the old cliche in the NFL. There's holding on every play, right?
There is, but if you called it, you'd be wrong. So
we're not talking about high crimes and misdemeanors here.
I have no comment. So,
Matt, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Look forward to seeing you. I got to ask you one last question, though. I know we're pressed for time. What's the Sunday and a Monday morning to about midday like for you as you're fielding those kinds of inquiries?
Right.
I've always wanted to ask the supervisor this.
If I get calls on Sunday, then it's not as good as if I only get calls on Monday. Sunday means something is more significant, right? And so after I get out of church, then we'll start working on that. And I'm gathering film. Every single play of every single game in the Ohio Valley Conference that's officiated by this staff is graded. It's not just every call you make, it's every play. We take a look at every single play. And so I will spend going through the issues that some of our schools might raise, but I've already been given a heads up by the staff. with our instant replay equipment, I already have video of every game within an hour of it being over. Every time a play goes to instant replay, I get a text and an email saying, here's what they just did. So as the game's going on. So you start gathering those things on the weekend, and then you start getting the grades out to the officials, because officials want to do well.
Sure. Exactly.
This all goes better when we get the plays right. So.
Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me sneak that last question in, because I
Anytime.
always want, particularly in your ministry and then balancing that on Sunday, I was
It's all
very
good.
curious about that. Matt Young, Supervisor Officials at Ohio Valley Conference. Coaches are next. He's the only thing in between them, so I'll say goodbye for a moment, and we'll have our first coach up right after this.
Thank you.
Head coach Jason Simpson, UT Martin, joining us here at OVC Media Day. I had to take a quick breath there.
They're working hard.
For the record,
Yeah.
the exchange between Coach Simpson and Matt Young, supervisor officials, was fantastic, right? I want to make sure we clarify that before we get into it.
He thanked us for all of our great, we keep him with ideas and keep his
inbox is full, right? As far as that goes. Coach, lot to talk about. Let's take a quick look at 2017. Had your chances there late against Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Your defense was superlative all season long.
It
Just
was.
couldn't seem to get over the hump offensively.
Yeah.
What do you attack in the offseason to remedy that?
Been the head coach there for 12 years, and statistically, it was our least efficient offense, in 12 years. I would tell you that, very, very frustrating, but very satisfying from a program standpoint. That it was good to see. That defense was a lot of guys that had been in the program for several years, and we got a lot of them back. So very, very fun to watch them play on Saturdays. They kept us in every game, and the edges they played with. You lose two games that you normally don't drop, 7-0 and 13-10, and those are the two games that really, kind of stick in the back of my mind and our players' mind as we move forward to this 2018 season.
So what's the offseason been like?
It's been good. No, it really has been. This summer there was very few distractions. That's the strength of this football team is experience. It is team chemistry. Been doing this a long time, and so you kind of know the roller coaster and the pitfalls that any team goes throughout May, June, and July. This team has been about as good as we've had in the summer. So if that is the bridge that it takes to roll on in the season, we're in a good shape right now.
Jason's saying is he doesn't like those phone calls as a head coach in May, June, and July, right? That's code for that, and that's very, very well respected as well. So what have you done offensively? What are the tweaks you're going to look at?
You're always studying yourself. What ways can we get better? What are things that that we can schematically that you can do with you research yourself first, and that's things we've done every year, and we've normally always finished in the top 3 in the league in total offense, and we didn't get it done this year. So you go back and you say, okay, where are we going to be at quarterback, where are we going to be at wide receiver, where are we going to be at running back, and I feel very comfortable with those situations, those skill positions right now. But it's going to go back to our offensive line. We didn't play very well up front last year, and so about 2 weeks into camp here in August, I will know where we are, and if we're better up front, then you'll see a better offensive line or a better offensive unit.
Was Chancellor Carver trying out for the offensive line in those spring videos? Where was he? What was his position? I want to know that.
He's all over the place, but he's part of our our excitement. He is the identity of our university right now, and we appreciate his commitment to our student athletes and to our university as a whole. It's fun since he's been there.
So last year Cincinnati and Hawaii. Yeah. This year Missouri. How do you put those games together?
Well, it's part of the necessary, plan. We've got a really nice, stadium upgrade. We've got new turf that's got to come in, and those things cost. And so you'll see us play actually 6 FBS games over the next 3 years, 4 of them being SEC games. And as a matter of fact, I looked at it that there's only there's 10 schools, and I think the other ones I think it's EKU that's playing 2 FBS games this year, 2 of your 11. So it's an economic decision that you have to make, but our players, it's just a way of life. They've lived there my last 12 years.
Longest tenured coach in the OVC, Jason Simpson, joining us. Our thanks to him. Good luck to you. Shorter trip. You don't have to send the equipment out on Tuesday to go to Hawaii this year, so I don't know how that worked for recruiting.
It was great. It was great.
Best of luck to you at Missouri and elsewhere in the conference. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason Simpson. We'll be back with more.
Thanks, man.
Big staff changes enforced at Eastern Illinois University this fall, but one that hasn't changed, Kim Dameron. Coach, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Hey, talk about off-season. It's the question I must ask everybody. Kind of quiet off-season? Not really. You made some big changes.
Yeah, made some big changes. We changed offensive coordinators, changed offensive philosophies, changed a lot of things going forward offensively. Really excited about it, and I think our kids are excited about it, and that's the biggest thing.
Deshaun said defensively preparing for it in spring drills is like, wow, this is a bit different. I think that's pretty good to put a kind of a jolt or a big change like that in your program.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we've been there 4 years, and we really hadn't done a lot of changing other than personnel over those 4 years. And I just felt like we needed a change. We needed the game to go with the way the game's moving. And so, we use the term air raid or things like that, but basically, I got a guy that had been running it down in Texas. Got a couple of transfer quarterbacks and things like that. So we're excited about the fall and see if we can have a much improved offense.
Was it a looking at the rest of the conference and saying, if we implement this, this will make a significant difference? Was it just a philosophy that Kim Dameron had that we just need to make a change? Kind of what played into that?
Well, I think with anything, whether it be offense, defense, or the kicking game, you need to be a little different or a lot better. And so, we're in the last few years of the league, we've been kind of in the upper top league of the league and all that stuff, but I just felt like we needed to be different. I felt like we needed to up the tempo. And to be perfectly honest with you, the last time that Eastern won the conference 5 years ago, they had Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, but they were also getting it up and down the field pretty quick and playing really fast. So that was something I just wanted to go back to, and I felt like that was the path that we needed to take, and really excited about what we did this spring.
So talk a bit about the transfer quarterbacks and other remaining personnel. Did they kind of fit into the scheme as well?
Well, we did. We got 2 transfers. We got Jonathan Brantley from Tulane and Harry Woodbury from Navarro Junior College, but Scotty Gilkey's still on campus. He played a ton for us last year and did a great job. And then we've got Jalen Banks, that's a redshirt freshman from last year, and we signed a kid out of Texas, out of Lubbock, Texas, that we're excited about, Quay Gray. So we'll have a good competition this fall. We had a good competition this spring, and we'll continue that. But we're excited about the position and also what we're doing with it.
Is this going to be one of these cases of I'm not going to announce a starter until we finish fall camp?
I'm going to announce a starter when I know who it is.
Okay.
That doesn't really bother me that much, and we'll probably who knows, we may play 3 of them in the first game.
Defensively, year in and year out, your club seems to be really strong. Looks to be no different this season.
Well, really excited about what we did last year with Kerry Fowler coming in to run the defense. Kerry played for me at Murray State back in the day years ago with Houston Nutt, and so we've known each other forever. And he was a head coach at Tarleton down at D2 school down in Texas, and so we got Kerry to come back, and he really took over the defense. Very, very similar. I mean, it's actually I kind of installed what I had been doing, which was not the case before. I let those other guys run the defense, and so I feel a little bit more ownership in what we do, but also Coach Fowler and his enthusiasm and his expertise. And we've got some pretty good players, as you met, Deshaun earlier.
I love your schedule from the standpoint that you play the FCS Illinois-type schools. Talk a little bit about your schedule and kind of what goes into that. I know there's some long-term rivalries there. It's really neat.
Yeah, well, we always are going to play 2 Missouri Valley teams because we're sitting right there. And the great thing about it is over the last couple of years and next year is that, one's an hour and a half and the other's 45 minutes. So it's really easy to and there are regional rivalries. And then we also will play an FBS school. This year we open up at Arkansas, which is my home, and I'm excited as heck about that, and can't wait to get down there and hear them call the Hogs and go in there and see if we can quieten them down a little bit.
No woo pig suey for Coach Dameron, but he does hope to get Coach Morris here in a couple of weeks, right? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a program that certainly has got some change going on in it as well.
Yeah, and I feel good about, as an alum, I'm excited about the way the program's going, but I hope we can throw a little bit of a wrench into it. You never know.
Look forward to seeing you along the way. Coach Kim Dameron joining us, Eastern Illinois. New offense, new look, lots of new faces. It's been a very, very successful program. Back after this. Jacksonville State picked to finish top of the heap again in the Ohio Valley Conference. John Gross, head coach, joins us here at OVC Media Day. Coach, welcome. You're going to start the season off standalone, singular kind of game already. Second year in a row.
Well, it's good. A national televised game, which I think is good for a university and a football program. So got a great opponent this year, North Carolina A&T. It's going to be a great game.
I saw a couple of scheduling quirks as well. You got Mississippi Valley State at home.
Well, that's the first home game, which that'll be good. You get a week off, opening with that kickoff classic game. You got the next week off, and then our first home game with them. So I think it's just really good to play in that kickoff game. It does kind of eat up your summer a little bit because we do start practice this week, but it kind of works out with that open week the week following.
So let's talk about some of the challenges the Jacksonville community has had, and certainly everyone in this conference has been very familiar with the challenges with the tornado. Talk a little bit about it. I know the entire campus community and your football team as well has been really involved in that. Just kind of put into words how difficult that's been, Coach.
Well, you don't have one in the program book how to handle a tornado during spring training. So I think our guys did really good with it. First and foremost, there was no fatalities, which is huge. With a Category 3 tornado coming through, you just, it's a blessing nobody was killed in the deal, and our guys were gone, because if some of them would have been on campus, they would have been, probably a bad deal. But coming back into it, balancing football and the cleanup effort was really good. Our guys got to come back in the next week after that happened. So, I was proud of the way they handled that situation, because we asked a lot out of them. They had to practice in the morning and do some football related in 4 or 5 hours. In the afternoon, we went out and helped clean up. So it was a great thing for our community to see that our guys doing that, and it's also, rewarding for our guys to see a homeowner after we get through cleaning up their deal, the satisfaction of that deal. So it was all a positive deal.
So moving on, obviously those interruptions aside, this football team to the point you need it to be as you begin fall practice?
Well, I think just interesting all season with the tornado, but before that we'd had a good all season. I think we handled that situation as well as we could have, and I said it's our new normal, and we kind of helped, get back to a normal pace in the summer, and we've had a really good all season at this point, so they've done everything we've asked them to do and more,
So new quarterback again this season. Brian Horton's solid last season. Talk a little bit about the changes there.
It really did. Brian had a great year for us. This past year we got 2 guys coming in competing for the job right now that don't know who's going to win that deal, but it's both of them highly talented and going to have good years, I think. But both of them can run the offense, so which is a good thing.
So we're going to dispel the rumors. There's no quarterback controversy.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I tried to get Coach Dameron in that a moment ago, and he was fantastic at his answer.
There you go. It's always open for competition. You get some games under your belt and see how it does.
Okay, so everybody in America, not only FCS, not only OVC, but everybody wants to know what's the new transfer you've got coming in this season that's going to make the difference, because you always seem to pull 2 or 3 out.
Well, we got, we add those to our roster. 85% of our roster is, recruited guys out of high school, and then we add another, about 15% to the roster transfer-wise. We've got some good ones. Can't dispel that at this time. Be cleaned up in that kickoff game, but they're good kids that fit right in with our program, and going to be really good additions.
The disappointment of how last season ended, then the tornado. You probably answered this already, but what is the mood? What is the approach?
I think our guys are just ready to play. It seems like you went through 3 weeks of spring with cleanup. It seemed like that spring lasted for 3 months instead of 3 weeks after come back spring break. So it's been a taxing all season. So I think they're just ready to get to the season and get to playing. But they're anxious for that. And we never look behind. We don't look ahead. So really this year's team's responsible for its own identity, its own chemistry, and we're just working daily to progress as a football team and to get better.
I want to talk about 2 players in particular. Bartlet Bridges, just fantastic sitting in that seat, getting to know him a little bit more. He called himself the eraser. I erase the mistakes that everybody in front of me makes, and I reminded him that Randy Robinson's pretty darn solid up front as well.
He's got a lot of help up there. He's got a lot of good pencil work in front of him. But
Tyler Scazzaro anchoring that offensive line. Jacksonville State's been able to run the football so well over years past. He's been a big part of that as well.
Well, both of those kids just got unique stories, and Marlon comes in, he redshirts, and he's a freshman, redshirt All-American. He's had a great career, very talented guy. Cazzaro comes in as a walk-on guy, comes in redshirts, went through 2 season-ending injuries, and now he's going to OVC Media Days. I told him the other day at workouts, I said, what a storybook career that you've had. So, you love to promote guys that's had careers like that, and Skizz is really deserving of that, of all the success that's coming to him. So there's been a lot of ups and downs for him, but he's just persevered through it and done a great job for us.
I've had the pleasure of working with 2 coaches before you, and then you, and being at Jacksonville State. Help our viewers just understand how special an atmosphere Jacksonville State is on a football Saturday.
I think it's very unique. Our tradition runs deep, with our alumni and our fan base, and it's growing. I mean, we've grown that, to where it is at the present. But we got a lot of historic, deal too. Our guys, we won the national championship in '92, and our fan base has always been strong. And once a Gamecock, always a Gamecock.
Sure.
So I think we got our loyalists going to be there, rain, sleet, snow, shine, and they can watch the Gamecocks play. And we've kind of added to that venue a little bit as well, and that fan base has grown.
So I had the chance to see the Tennessee State game last season, the season ender, regular season ender. Thursday night, Incredible crowd, just kind of a special atmosphere there as well.
Well, I think our fans really love that because, you know, back in the Gulf South days, that's kind of what you did.
Yep.
You played on Thursday nights. A lot of your home games were on Thursday nights, so a lot of our fans remember those Thursday nights. So anytime we play a night game, especially a Thursday night or a Saturday night, our fans really, really love that. And it's a good venue on a Saturday. You know, there's a lot of good tailgating going on, and like you said, it's just a great venue. And you know, we constantly, you know, challenge folks and test that around our area to come and try it.
Everybody's been chasing you for the last few seasons. Just a final comment: this league's getting a whole lot better. It's pushing up toward you.
Well, I've seen it get better every year. I sit here, you know, every year at this point in time and say the parity in OVC is just, it gets better every year. And yeah, I think that it's hard to pick who's going to finish first, who's going to finish last, because everybody's, you know, on the same playing field. Every Saturday you better come to play, and you better play your A game, or you got to run a risk of getting beat. And I think that's still, you know, very, very true today for this upcoming OVC race. And there's a lot of good teams, a lot of good players, and everybody's well coached. And our guys understand it's not who you play, it's how we play, and I think we kind of held to that. But it's you better be ready to play on any Saturday, whether you're home or away in OVC.
After an incredible offseason, Jacksonville State will head to the capital city. They'll open up on national television in a few weeks. John Gross, thanks for joining us. Best of luck to you, Jacksonville State.
Thank you very much.
Coach Gross. We'll be back after this. Coach Tom Matukowicz, Southeast Missouri, joins us now, live on set here at OVC Media Days, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Coach Took, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
We are, man, I started out with Marquess Terry about an hour and a half ago. I want to get your comments. Really special young man, really has kind of emerged in your program, and here we are at Media Day, and he's preseason OVC Offensive Player of the Year.
It's hard to believe, you know, when we first learned about him, watching film and talking to his coaches, people just had so many good things to say about the kid. And he was the best player in that whole conference. And if you know anything about junior college football, the Jayhawk Conference is outstanding. And for him to be the Offensive Player of the Year there tells you a lot about him. And I couldn't believe we had the opportunity to recruit him. But to be honest, you know, the best thing about, we call him Quez, is who he is off the field. I mean, that guy cares about his teammates. He's very intentional. He's quiet a little bit, so you got to pull it out of him. But he will be a really, really successful person, and it's because of who he is and his character.
Now, this is your first full recruiting class from start to finish. Is this the year you make the move forward?
That's the plan. We plan on winning them all. You know, we certainly, I think if you look at our two deep and our roster, it's the best roster we've had. We've gotten more depth than we've had. To be able to do that, we got to get our offense going, though. I think defensively we have fixed it. We had 4 defensive players get an NFL camp. 4 players off last year's team, so that tells you a lot there. But offensively, we haven't been able to turn the corner. We got to be able to score points. I'm super excited about not only the coaches that we have, but you know, the best 2 players on football teams are left tackle and our running back. So I mean, those are great building blocks. And then the offensive staff I'm excited about. We bring in Jeremy McDowell, who's a former SEMO guy, former quarterback coach and player, and has had huge success at Division II level, top 5 offense, and hopefully we can get that to carry over to this fall.
What do you think about this conference as a whole when you size it up? I just talked to John Gross. I mean, Everybody's inching up toward the top there. You feel like you're there as well, but this conference has dramatically improved, in my opinion, over the last 2 or 3 years.
I agree with you. You know, I played against the conference when I was assistant in a lot of other places, and it's gotten better each and every year. Just ourselves in general, like we'll be in every game. We're good enough to compete in every game and be in a fourth quarter game with most everybody we play. It's just, can we get over that hump and win those games? And I know everybody's chasing Jacksonville State because that's the standard, and that's where we're all trying to get to.
Back to getting over the hump, and you alluded to it just earlier, offense has got to step up there. I was talking to a couple of other players about how strong their specific schools were defensively. And you're kind of in that situation as well. Do you tend to see yourself leaning a little bit more toward a little more emphasis on the offense to get it up to where it needs to be, or do you have to kind of catch yourself to make sure you have that balance?
Well, I just think the how you win football games doesn't necessarily change, you know, as far as playing good defense and having a strong kicking game. But the fact of the matter is you got to get in the high 20s in college football right now, and so our style has really changed, you know, more of going from a pro style to spread, and you're just trying to go a little more on the attack mode instead of on the play the clock, run the ball, grind it out, get in it a couple possessions. We're going to try to really, you know, open it up.
Talk about playing at Cape. I enjoy. In fact, the last few games I've had with you, it's been homecoming, so it's been a little extra special. But it's a unique place.
It really is.
Geographically, it's unique to your recruiting. Talk a little bit about Cape Girardeau.
Well, you hit it on the head. The reason I came here is because of Cape Girardeau and that region. They just they're starving for a winner. You know, we're in our own little pocket. They want to follow something that's a winner. They love a tailgate in Cape Girardeau, I can tell you that too. So they show up and our Red Hawk Walk, and they shut the street down, and they just get behind our players. Even this summer, like you talk about Quez, he's got an unbelievable internship with the Bank of Missouri there in Cape Girardeau. Drew Forbes has an internship with Chap Arnold, which is a major insurance provider in our area. Just even more so than that, than the football part is our community really invest in our football players. We're eating a free supper this Thursday at City Church there in Cape. That come and feed our players. They want to get involved, and they just have a lot of support. It's that small town feel.
Anything jump out on your schedule you want to talk about? I mean, classic. It is what it is. But there are a couple of things you might want to mention.
Yeah, I'd love to. You know, this is the first game I scheduled. I scheduled Arkansas State. I really wanted to play that. You know, it's regional. All our fans can travel. Their parents can travel, and the fact that people don't realize 20 years ago they were SEMO. It was in a dry county, FCS, terrible. And look at them now. And so I want our people to see that and see what we can be. Then the other thing is, you know, our first 5 games we got 1 in Houck, 1 in Cape. So we got to do a great job of being able to play on the road, winning some of those football games, so that when we do come back to Cape, the advantage of that is if we play well in those first 5, you know, the race can come through Cape because we finish at home. That's what I'm excited about.
Coach, good luck to you. Look forward to it. He's got the best. We may not show this, but you know, media days are for show sometimes. Coach Matukowicz got the best looking one shoes in the house for sure, Coach.
Yeah,
and you give credit to your wife. Here they are, right here on the screen. You
know, everybody's excited about these custom Jordans everybody makes. I got me some boots from my bride who surprised me last Valentine's Day. She still hadn't told me how much they cost, but they're not cheap.
Good luck to you as well, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you. Coach Took, that's what he goes by, Southeast Missouri. We'll be back right after this. Tennessee State's Rod Reed joining us here at OVC Media Day, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Coach, good to see you.
Hey, it's good to be seen.
You got your game face on today.
A little bit. It's getting close, man. And, you know, been running around, you know, all summer with my kids, so it's time to put that coaching hat back on.
It is. And all the conference wants to know what kind of transfers you got in. And, you know, what are you bringing in? Each and every year you seem to have some surprises for us.
Well, we got a couple of guys. You're talking about transfers, right?
Sure.
We got a kid, Christian Abercrombie, linebacker from Atlanta, Georgia, that we recruited out of high school. He came in. Mekhi Brown from Alabama. He came in. Demery Croft, quarterback from Minnesota. He's there. And there are a couple more, but those are the top three guys.
Now, Stephen Newbould is counting on, you know, 15, 20 targets a game. Is that going to be possible in this offense?
We need to get the ball to him as many times as possible. When Steve got the ball in his hands, he makes plays. So we will try to do that, but we have some other weapons out there. You know, Treon Harris is going to move out to receiver.
Okay.
New kid, Major Bellamy, is a junior college kid from Georgia Military, who's very explosive. Devon Johnson, the kid that was there last year. Chris Rowland. So we've got a lot of weapons, and we need to use all of them.
Since this is the first time we've held OVC Media Day in this manner with the live stream and the broadcast, I want folks to kind of know your background at Tennessee State. It is very important to you. Look how he beams when you just talk to him about it. It's very important to you. It's very personal to you. Tell folks a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I was a freshman at Tennessee State University back in 1984. I'm out of Texas. You know, my dad went to Tennessee State, and he's been tabbed as John Merritt's first All-American at Tennessee State. So there's some legacy there. You know, I was able to do a lot of great things at Tennessee State. That's where my background is, you know, with Coach Gillum, you know, Coach Thomas, and all those guys, Coach Merritt. So there's a lot of lineage there. There's a lot of history, there's a lot of tradition, but me going to Tennessee State and being able to come back and coaching my alma mater means a great deal to me.
I don't use the word legend a lot, but some of those names you just mentioned, I think you have to agree with me, are pure legend.
They are legendary, you know, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Coach Coleman, you know, Coach Coffey, all those guys that were there at Tennessee State when my dad was there. And, you know, Craig Gillum was the defensive coordinator, my defensive coordinator, you know, after his dad was there for so long. So it's been a journey. I'm really excited to be at Tennessee State University to try to carry on that legend and that legacy. Our next step is to try to win an Ohio Valley Conference Championship. You know, we've done all but that at Tennessee State, so we're really excited about the challenge.
So let's talk a little bit about classic games. They're such a big part of what you do. There's a little bit of criticism that maybe playing those classic games, the intense travel early in the academic year, early in the season, might wear you down a little bit. Kind of give me your thoughts on that.
You know, it is what it is. You know, we're in HBCU. That's our heritage. To be able to go and play in the Southern Heritage Classic against Jackson State is second.
50,000 people.
It's second to none.
Yeah.
You know, Fred Jones does a really good job with that classic. There's a lot of festivities around that classic that draws a great economic impact to the city of Memphis. It helps us in recruiting in that area, so we really love playing that classic. And our own John Merritt Classic. You know, what more can you say? Anytime you got John Merritt associated with anything, it's got to be great. So Mr. Gray, Clinton Gray, he does a great job as the chair of that John Merritt Classic, and the committee that they have do a really good job. And we've got a great opponent coming in for the John Merritt Classic this year, which is Bethune-Cookman and HBCU out of Daytona Beach, Florida.
September 1st.
September 1st. September 1st. We're going to kick it off.
Splitting time between the stadium and the hole. Do you think it's been beneficial for your program?
Very beneficial. You know, we love the amenities, and to be able to recruit kids to be able to come and play in a pro stadium 2 or 3 times a year, and also to be able to go home and play in the hole, which is hallowed ground to a bunch of people, and myself.
Look how he smiles when you mention
included,
that. Yeah.
You know, being able to play in the hole is great. So our kids look forward to playing in both.
A lot of folks are going to meet DeJour Nesbitt today, maybe for the first time. A word or two about him.
Well, DeJour is not here. Laquarius Cook is here.
Okay.
But about DeJour, you know, he's going to be a junior this year. We played him early as a freshman. We expect big things out of him, and hopefully, you know, he'll elevate his play from last year. But the kid that we have here, L'Aquarius Cook, he's a leader in our secondary. He makes everything go back there. He makes all the calls. He can even get the front lined up. So we're very glad to have a senior back there that is very heady and can do all things we need him to do on the defense.
So a busy first week of the conference. We talked about some FBS foes and then the John Merritt Classic here in Nashville, September 1st, Bethune-Cookman. Coach, glad to see you. Best of luck to you along the way.
All right, man. Go Big Blue.
I always enjoy the Middle Tennessee guys because I am one myself. Coach Rod Reed, thanks to him. We'll be back right after this. Media Day, Coach Shealy, 2 years ago when you came to this event, picked at the bottom of the pack, didn't win a game. Last season, incredible turnaround. This season, we find you in the number 2 slot. I know all the cliches about preseason polls, but the turnaround's been dramatic.
Well, I think it's awesome for us to have expectations. You know, that was something that 2 years ago when we sat here, there weren't any other than being dead last. So our guys haven't hid from that. Obviously, you've got to play great this year. It's based on what you've done last year and what you have coming back. So we've got to, create our own story, and we've got to play to that level. But it's awesome. You know, I mean, when I took the job, I hoped that people were gunning for Austin Peay, and that's what's happening. And obviously, everybody ultimately is gunning for what Jacksonville State's been able to do. And I think everybody that's in that room today, besides John Gross, is saying the exact same thing. But got a lot of kids coming back. I'm excited about the expectation. It's a new year, new challenge, new staff. You know, we've got 4 new guys on staff. So how that gels and all the different ways we were able to win games late in the year last year and late in the game, we got to be able to do again. But excited about the expectation.
So let's talk about the Sunday before Thanksgiving and the disappointment of not making the field. How did that translate through the off season? Did you have kind of a 24-hour period or whatever the total was in that? How did you handle that, Will?
That 30-minute period was about as tough as it could get, you know, in the coaching room. Obviously, I had a 13-game period that was really difficult. But that 30-minute period, especially addressing that group of seniors, was very difficult. I thought it'd be the best thing that ever happened to the kids coming back, because when you flip it as fast as we were able to do it, if you make the playoffs and you worry about our guys complacent or, is there anything that we're trying to shoot for? Obviously, you're still trying to win a national championship, but you worry about how guys would respond. I thought it was the perfect thing for all the guys coming back. And I think what they've done, put work in the offseason, Chris Laskowski and our strength staff do an unbelievable job. They've worked harder than they ever have. And I think that missing piece, having a chance to win a national championship and be in the playoffs, has been something that's driven them.
Yeah, to your point, if you believe in tweets and media, social media like that, and seeing the governors in the weight room, and it looks like you kind of shifted the emphasis there, and it worked for you. You got 2 fantastic student athletes with you today. Let's go on the defensive side. Jason Williams is about as good as it gets. I think he and Randy Robinson from Jacksonville State are the 2 best linemen in this conference defensively. A word or two about him.
Well, he's an unbelievable player. I think he's a guy that's earned every bit of the praise that he's gotten. It's not like he looks like a Dick's Sporting Goods mannequin. You know, he's 5'10". I give him a hard time all the time. He's 5'10", 225 pounds. So I'm sure all the other guys that are here today are like, that's the guy who, you know, has had so much praise. But more than that, he is an exceptional player, but he is an even better person. You know, his story is unbelievable, what he's fought through. He is a self-made great player and great person. He's a leader of our football team, and obviously he's had tremendous success. We expect big things from him, not only that, but from a leadership aspect and from a work ethic and all the things that he brings to the table. But, you know, he looks pretty good today, too. I have to give him credit. That red jacket.
You put
looks
the
good
all
on
red
him.
today.
He needs longer pants, but other than that, he looks really good.
Offensively, you played two quarterbacks too about midseason last year, and then Jeremiah Oatsfall just hands down separated himself from that group. He's an all OVC selection as well preseason. Your offense was just really putting up points, put the most points against UCF last season alone in Orlando. It just seems like the perfect storm for you, if you will, perfect formula for you. The offense producing, defense tightening up. You kind of see it that way?
Well, I thought we got better as the year went on. We seemed to kind of catch a stride offensively about midway through the season. Obviously, Jeremiah was a tremendous spark. For me, I feel great because I think Jeremiah and Javon can both win a lot of games in this league, and we're going to need both. I think the one thing that we've made clear to both of them is if Jeremiah is going to be the guy coming back, he's got to earn it again. And I think that competition will make both of them better. So, yeah, I think offensively we got some weapons around them. We were extremely young, played a lot of, you know, we'd have 6 or 7 freshmen on the field at a time offensively. So you expect them to get better as the year goes on, and now you expect year 2 for them to, you know, to be even better than that. So defensively we made tremendous strides, and I thought offensively we were finally getting to the point where we could be really dynamic at the end of the year, which was why the playoffs were so disappointing.
September 1st, national FBS runner-up. Sounds like a pretty big challenge for you.
Well, I'll tell you what that game's done for us.
I was going to give you a hard time. I just couldn't think about the right words.
Well, if you want me to talk trash or anything, I'm not doing that. But from a national perspective, the exposure that our program's gotten has been unbelievable. And, you know, that's what you hope this game would be able to do for you. It's 3:30 on ESPN against a team that finished, you know, could have won the national championship last year. It's expected to be in the hunt again this year.
One missed assignment.
That's right. But it will be an unbelievable environment for our guys to play in. Obviously, we feel like we have a couple guys that hopefully will have an opportunity to play at the next level. And this is a really good gauge for them. You know, if they can go out and compete and have success in this game, then you feel good about their chances. If they can't, we need to go back to the drawing board, and we need to start becoming a little bit more realistic about where they are. So, you know, I grew up a big Georgia Tech fan. I'd go down there between the hedges every other year. It will be awesome to stand on that sidelines. We're going to go through the College Football Hall of Fame. We're going to, you know, try to do a walkthrough at either Mercedes-Benz or Flowery Branch for the Titans or Falcons practice, and then we'll go stay at Chateau Lawn. So it's going to be a great trip for our guys. Just tee it up 3:30. You know, first week of the season against the Georgia Bulldogs is a pretty daunting task, but I'm looking forward to it.
Best of luck. Some of the coaches chose Missouri and some others to go to. Of course,
let's go the biggest, baddest.
You know it's going to be Georgia as well. That's for
right.
Sure. Will Haley, Austin Peay, Governor's pick to finish second preseason Ohio Valley Conference Poll. Our thanks to him. He's got some great student athletes with him as well today. Back after this, OVC Media Day, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Welcome back. Murray State's Mitch Stewart joins us live on the set. OVC Media Days. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you,
He's
too.
He's got that beautiful blue. He's giving Will Healy a hard time. The three of us probably need to take a picture together or something.
We probably do, yeah. Well, you know, I was giving Will a hard time because that's the difference. You know, he come decked out, got his, what was that, pink or red tie on he's got going on? Had his hair done up and everything.
Yeah,
he
there it is over there. That's pretty. It's not bad. It's not bad. Give him a hard time. I wanted to talk to you, obviously, about this football season, but last season it just seemed like get a little bit of momentum, some good things that happened to you, and then it's kind of like a brick wall. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was, and I tell you the great thing, and then I'll get to you quick. The great thing about last year, and I've told a lot of people this, and it was actually my wife was the one who told me.
They're always
this.
the best.
They're the smartest people
absolutely
in the world if you'll just listen to them. You know what I mean? And she told me, she said, the great thing is you have so much to learn from. There were so many things that happened last year, good and bad,
sure,
that if you'll just take the time to look at them and go, well, this is how we don't do this again, or this is how we do this again. As long as you'll take that time, you can learn from them, you can get better from them. And I think moving forward this year, that's what we've done this offseason. It's the reason why I'm really excited. I got a big smile on my face because the guys, the players, we really kind of took that approach, and we did. We had a lot of things going last year, just personnel-wise, and just different things that came up. And I joked with somebody the other day. It just felt like every time you turned around, you were getting smacked in the face. You know, just something else. Yeah. Like you talked about, and as soon as you kind of did this and something would, you know, and I'll be honest with you, and I say this, and I tell my team this all the time. I don't think I did a great job motivating them at times out of that because there were so many, just boom, 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 and that's probably the biggest thing that I took away is you know, the ability to keep on fighting and keep on churning and keeping on doing those things and letting those guys know how to do that and teaching those guys how to do that.
So when you experience a season like last season, and by the way, it wasn't a total loss by no stretch of the imagination.
No.
Well, there's do you have to guard against second guessing yourself to? Oh, we need to totally revamp this, or we need to totally tweak this, or we need to leave this alone. Do you do a lot of that as a staff?
That's always the answer, isn't it? Isn't that always the answer? You go back and you start second guessing and you start going, well, maybe we need to change this, maybe we need to change that, and that's usually the worst thing that you can do. And you've got to fight hard against that. And we did that at times last year. We really did. We did that at times, but like I said, we didn't. At other times, we let it kind of creep in, and all of a sudden, hey, let's change the practice schedule. Let's change the way we're doing this. Let's take the pads off. Let's put the pads on. Let's, as opposed to saying, look, here's a standard. This is the way we're going to do it, and this is what's going to lead us to get out of this or to keep us going at this rate of success. And that's what we've really tried to hone in on this off season, moving up into this season.
Offensively, struggled at times to score last season.
It was horrible.
Jensen Figgins, we talked to him earlier. He wants 20 touches a game, targets a game.
I like guys like that.
Is that possible?
I like
his work, but I'm
what did he tell you? I'm going to catch everything that's thrown to me or something like that?
But he said one of the key things he did say was, it's a great core group of players that remained on campus during the summer. Yeah. What does that say to you?
That's probably the biggest encouragement that I have right now. We've had 76 guys going through June and July. First time we've had that.
It's a big number,
and it was a big deal for us. Not from a standpoint, we didn't do a whole lot of ball. There's no ball. There's no, hey, let's do this. There's no installations or anything like that. It's simply those guys. I called Jensen the other day and I said, hey, remember, we're going to leave at 6 o'clock Monday morning, da-da-da-da-da. We're going to go to the media day. And I could hear something. I said, hey, what are you doing? He goes, oh, me and Drew are out here playing golf. Those are the things that I like because they're always around one another. Every day when I walk into the building, I get to see them, and I get to touch them, and I get to say hey to them. I get to shake their hands. I don't care about any of the other stuff, and that's been so incredible this summer is watching those guys come together and just be with one another for 2 months and grow with one another. It's really, really been cool.
So I was supposed to ask this question, so I will. Talk a little bit about your schedule upcoming this season. I mean, conference side alone, you got some really interesting non-conference matchups.
Yeah, it's going to be it's an aggressive schedule, and it's going to be a good test of where we're at. We open up with SIU on a Thursday, which will be fun. I love the Thursday games. You keep the students there a little bit, you know.
Plus, it's before Labor Day, and I think it's very important.
Absolutely. And then we leave there. We go to Central Arkansas, which everybody knows they're a tough opponent. And then we leave there and go to Kentucky on the east side of the state. So that'll be a lot of fun. And they're a completely different Kentucky team. Coach Stoops has done a phenomenal job with those guys, talent-wise and personnel. And then obviously we get into our conference schedule after that, and this conference has just gotten so tough. It's just so good. These coaches do a tremendous job, and I'm just very fortunate to be a part of these guys. You know, we just had our head coaches meeting, and just being around those guys and listening to them talk about their teams, it's just a really, really good league right now.
Coach Mitch Stewart, we teased him. They named stadiums after him, or
that's what I tell all the recruits.
Named stadiums after him at Murray State. Coach, good luck to you. Thank you for joining us. I know you got a lot of other media commitments here as well. Just always good to see you and the staff here. And there is an athletic director's vacancy at Murray State as well. And you're going to go ahead and say no, you're not.
Yeah, that's not for me. I can't do that. That job's way too tough for me.
With affirmation, he says that. Thank you, Coach. Mitch Stewart, we'll be back after this. Mark Elder in his third season at Eastern Kentucky. I was telling LJ that was with us earlier, Coach, I love the Fire the Cannon moniker. So he didn't take credit for that. Will you take credit for that?
It was a staff deal. So where it came from, we've obviously got a cannon up in the corner of the end zone, and every time we score, you fire the cannon, and that was something that had been going on for years and years, and ROTC does it, and so when we got there, it signifies something great just happened. So that's a little slogan that we use. You know, when anybody commits or anything great happens in the program or anything like that, fire the cannon.
I have to admit, you should follow EKU Sports on Twitter, because any event that happens on campus related to football has a Fire the Cannon moniker. So, I mean, we have birthdays. Your birthday was announced. I mean, it's just a lot of different fun associated with that and a branding thing. So, congratulations on that. You got to mention those things at Media Days. Let's talk about this football team. I really enjoyed visiting with L.J. Scott. Tremendous journey, as you well know, having recruited him back at another stop before Tennessee, and then back to you at Eastern Kentucky. Offensively, talk about your team this season. We got to get some things done offensively. Got a lot of new faces, kind of blending in a little bit. Transfer situation last year maybe didn't work out as well as it did, or talk a little bit about that.
Well, offensively, I mean, schematically, I don't know that we're going to be a great deal different. We're going to be very, very similar to what we've been. What's nice is that there's going to be a lot of continuity as far as our players that have been in the system now. Now, yes, we're going to be missing a handful of guys that played key roles for us a year ago. Our quarterback is gone, our leading receiver is gone, but the nucleus, besides those couple spots, the nucleus of our team is going to be back, and we're going to be in another year in the system. So we've got some talented guys that are ready to and are excited to take on a bigger role, to be that go-to guy as the receiver, to be the quarterback, and there's going to be competition for who takes that stuff over. But I'm certainly very encouraged with the progress that we made this offseason offensively. I think that we're going to be a more veteran, more experienced crew for sure.
Defensively, you were solid last year, but, I mean, as all things, as we sit here preseason, your comment probably will be, "Oh, we got to step it up. We got to make some strides there." Is that necessarily the case at EKU?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're trying to improve in all three aspects of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. And at times we did some good things defensively. We were not consistent enough to be the type of team that we want to be. We are losing a handful of really productive guys. Probably our 3 most productive players from a year ago are going to be gone. But again, similar to offensively, I think we've got talented guys that are excited and ready to step up and fill that void of those guys leaving, and certainly feel like we've got a lot of competitive depth on both sides of the football, where there's not anybody that's just, hey, head and shoulders above everybody else. We've got a 2 deep and even maybe deeper than that of good football players, guys that are capable and ready, and that leads to great competition.
I'm curious about your recruiting, because geographically you're a little bit challenged, but you do a really good job in Southern Ohio, stretching back in the middle Kentucky or central Kentucky. I talk about your philosophy with that, because you coming from Tennessee, coming from the Midwest, and coaching, I mean, you certainly have got some contacts in that region that extend the normal boundaries that maybe EKU was recruiting in.
Sure. Well, we recruit, essentially our footprint is about a 6-hour radius around Richmond, and then we also go down to Florida. So we've got some really good football that when you drive around that 6-hour radius, that is close that we can get to. So we go north into Ohio. We'll even go into Michigan, because that's within 6 hours of us. Indiana, Chicago, St. Louis, down to Tennessee, the whole state of Tennessee. The western part of North Carolina and South Carolina, Atlanta and Georgia, the northern part of Alabama, and then there's a bunch of ties down to Florida, so we've gone down there as well.
So, if there's such a word as Mark Elder settled in the beginning of his 3rd season, are you settled in? Have you embraced this role as head coach? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm having the time of my life. Really enjoy this team, and have had a lot of fun this offseason. They're a joy to coach. They're a joy to show up to every day. I mean, that's my favorite part of the day is that time that they're going to be in the building, and we get to spend time with them. So certainly am excited about the team. Very much. This is the first year that we are started the off season with everybody pointing in the same direction, pulling in the same direction, saying, hey, this is what we're about. This is why we do things, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So it's been a joy this off season for us as a staff and for me personally.
Like a lot of these coaches, you play challenging out-of-conference games. Talk a bit about the schedule this season.
Well, we open up on a Thursday night against Moorhead, which is great. It's going to be the first time that we're going to open up at home. And a Thursday night game is typically a really good game as far as atmosphere is concerned. I'm anticipating that the student body will be out, the Richmond community will be out. That's great. Travel to Marshall the next week, so we get a little extended week, which will be good for us in that regard. Then we travel to Bowling Green, and then we start our OVC schedule. So we'll have SEMO at home, a bye week, Jacksonville State at home. It gets a little gray after that. And then I know later in the year we have another non-conference of Robert Morris, a competitive FCS opponent. So challenging schedule, but I think a very, very good schedule.
Good opportunities for you in a lot of those non-conference games. I think Mac, and then you got Marshall there as well. Looks forward to it. Good luck to you, Coach. I know you got a lot of routes to make. Excited to have you in this conference. A lot of folks are tracking you and Will, because you both came in. Will Healy, you both came in 3 years ago, kind of tracking.
Sure.
There was another coach that came in that's no longer here. So you guys are standing there, and there's a lot of fun watching the progress that you two have made with your respective programs. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And as they say,
fire the cannon.
Fire the cannon. There we go. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Good talking to you. We'll be back right after this. Got so excited. We just affectionately called Dwayne Alexander the new guy from Tennessee Tech, so we'll officially call you the new guy. Coach, welcome to OVC Media Day.
I'm kind of the new old guy.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, listen, really quick, I do want to get everyone to know kind of your trail throughout predominantly Middle Tennessee,
sure,
and then ending back up at Tennessee Tech yet again.
Right. Well, this will be my 30th year of coaching football, and I've done all of it in the state of Tennessee. I've done
incredible.
high school football for 14 years. I've done college football for 16 years. I was the head coach at Cumberland University for 7 years. I've been at Tennessee Tech. This is my 4th time back at my alma mater at Tennessee Tech as a coach, and this time as the head coach. But I've been the defensive line coach. I've been the running backs coach. I've been the offensive line coach and assistant head coach under Watson Brown. I worked under Mike Hennigan years ago, and now I'm back as the head football coach. So, and I couldn't be more humbled and more excited to be here.
So how do you put a staff together? I know there's some holdovers. You coming into this position very late in December. Talk about what it's been. Take me from December to today.
Well, it's been a whirlwind, I can tell you that. But, you know, I think any coach, when you're wanting to be a head football coach, you better keep a short list of names in a drawer if you get a head coaching job of what you want your staff to look like. And I was very fortunate. We put our staff together. In less than 10 days, we had everybody hired. But there was obviously a lot of previous contact and just guys that we knew and that I knew that I wanted to bring on board if the opportunity was given. The awesome thing is we had a lot of assistant coaches that wanted to be at Tennessee Tech. The guys that we've hired wanted to be there. They understood Tennessee Tech. A lot of them had played there before. Trey Lamb, our offensive coordinator, had been there as a former player, and he and I had coached together. Doug Malone had been an offensive coordinator at Tennessee Tech for 8 years back in the late 90s and 2000s. He and I had worked together. Taylor Hennigan had been a former player at Tennessee Tech and had been a former coach there, so brought him back. So we had a lot of guys, you know, that had ties. I kept Sam Williamson, who has been here in this league for 13 years. He came to Tennessee Tech back in 2006 with Watson and has stayed here.
So we can talk X's and O's all day long, but I've got to have a Jumbotron update. So how are we coming on that?
Man, it is big, I can tell you that. And the scary thing is, you know, I've heard that, you know, television and all those things add some pounds to you. I'm very worried this Jumbotron may add like 50 pounds. This thing is big, it's huge, but it looks great. They've got all the panels in. It looks awesome, and it's certainly going to add a lot to our venue and our game day experience.
Talk a little bit about the next coming days for you, when the players report. When do you get started?
We've had a lot of our guys here this summer, the last part of summer. They reported on July the 8th for just summer conditioning, you know, and some meetings and things like that. But all of our guys officially report August 1st. And we will start practice on August the 2nd, and we have our first game on August the 30th, so it'll be a compacted time here coming up.
Oh, good luck to you, Coach. We appreciate it. Our best to Dr. Oldham and Mark Wilson. I know they've been fantastic to work with.
Absolutely.
I'm partial to both of them for some reasons.
Well, for good reason. They're good ones.
I'll tell you about later. Good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dwayne Alexander. Well, we got to step aside. The commissioner is going to join us next right here at OVC Media Day.
All right.
There's a lot of cliches about saving the best for last, but you always should save management for last, and that's the case. Commissioner Beth DeBusch joins us. Beth, you got a speaking engagement here in just a few minutes. Thank you for joining us. This is always kind of fun, right? It's the beginning of the academic year. It's the beginning of kind of your athletic year as well.
We look forward to today all year long. There's such good enthusiasm. Everybody's optimistic. Everybody's at the top of the race when we start in July. But it really is a good day, and I think it really speaks to the love of football in this league.
I just want to talk about, this has not been an ordinary summer for you or your staff. I mean, we went through NCAA tournament. You helped host the Jacksonville situation. There's been a lot that your staff has been involved in throughout what normally is a quieter period.
Well, I don't know, not to contradict you, I don't know in this day and age if there are quiet periods in intercollegiate athletics, but we have a great staff. We've been together for a good period of time. We've had no transition, thank goodness. We were able to host the first and second rounds. That's a phenomenal opportunity for us. It really brings our staff together, but the neat thing about that opportunity is it brings the membership together as well. They help serve and get all kinds of experiences that are good for all of us.
Had a fantastic meeting with Matt Young, supervisor officials, joining you and joining us in that seat right here. Replay, was fantastic last year, the implementation. I've had a few bugs early on, got worked out. Anything dramatic we should be looking for as far as changes from your office as far as football season goes?
In terms of the football season, we'll have some media changes upcoming, not fully announced yet, but we can anticipate a different platform for all our good digital content. Having said that, though, every game will be video cast, so there'll be great exposure for OVC football and the second year of replay, so we're looking forward to it.
So how do we make the change? How do you make your decision? Where do you go on a given Saturday?
I find out where you're going to be. I'm just teasing. We really enjoy going out to all of the campuses and try to be smart in terms of making efficient trips, if you will.
Well, from a broadcaster guy, I think that's a heck of a job to be able to choose where you're going to go to in that given day. Commissioner, thank you. Appreciate your time. I know you've got a speaking engagement here at the top of the hour. We appreciate it. Appreciate you allowing me to do this. This has been a lot of fun. We've gotten a lot of information out and a lot of exposure out for programs. It's been fantastic.
Well, we can't thank you enough, Bob, for your years of service to the league. You've been a great friend.
Appreciate
so
it.
You.
The Commissioner's coming up soon, top of the hour. Thank you for watching us in this special stream here on the OVC Digital Network, and thank you to Farm Bureau Health Plans. Have a good day.